Welcome to Swartz Talkin Sports. I'm your host, Les Swartz. Hope everyone's having a fantastic week and everyone had a great 4th of July holiday last week. A groundbreaking show tonight. We're really super excited to get tonight's show started. But before we bring on tonight's first guest, let's bring on my captain, the co-host, Al the Rattler Chester, former quarterback, great at Florida A&M University, quarterback the 78 Rattlers to a national championship, and currently the color man on the Rattler basketball and football broadcast. Let's bring on Al Chester.
What's going on, Les? How you doing, buddy? I'm live this week from Tallahassee, Florida. I'm in Leon County, having a great time, handling some business with my grandsons, but glad to be here. I'm super excited about the show tonight.
Well, Al, thanks for making time. I know you're on the road, so I appreciate you jumping on today. I know the book will be back for everybody who's looking for Benny the book. Trust me, Benny is not away. He'll be back, and we'll get him on soon. Hopefully he'll come on tonight and throw a few questions out. But we got a great show tonight, Al, a groundbreaking show for STS. We've got our first female guest ever, and boy, we waited a while for this, but we got an incredible, unique, and super talented and amazing individual, Chandra Cheeseborough, who was a two-time Olympian in 84 and 76 in Montreal as well, two-time gold medalist and a silver medalist in the 84 LA Games. And she is the current track coach at Tennessee State University for both the men's and women's teams. So before we bring on Chandra, let's run tonight's opening reel.
They're going to get this record. I'm sure all she wants to do is run hard. She'd like to get the record, but she doesn't want to tie up or anything. It's going to be virtually impossible for her to be caught right here.
She was a sprinter who stretched it out. She says she hates the 4, but she's going to love the gold if she can hold on.
I don't think they're going to get there, but they have one heck of a chance of breaking this Olympic record.
Olympic record 319.23. Chandra Cheeseborough.
And they're giving the world record a shot here.
Here she comes. 315.92, the world mark. Nope, she won't get that, but will she get the Olympic record, which is 319.23? Yes! They set the Olympic record. Cheeseborough wins her second gold in an hour. Valerie Briscoe hooks.
Al, that is what we call picking them up and putting them down. That's a gold medal performance right there.
Was that beautiful or what? That was beautiful.
That is the way that a champion is supposed to run. And let's bring on tonight's special guest and the person you just saw, Chandra Cheeseborough. Hi, Chandra.
Thank you. Good evening. How are you?
Hey, Chandra. How you doing, homegirl?
I am well. I am well. Thank you guys for having me.
First of all, that was awesome. I remember it, but man, you actually blew the competition away. You knew how to pick them up and put them down.
Well, they made it easy for me. They gave me the lead, and I just kept the lead.
Well, let's get right into it.
I was just going to echo the same thing. I tell you what, I've been knowing Chandra since she was 12, 13 years old, man, and she has always been a talent, and she could roll out the bed and make it happen. Old people, we had to work hard to get that thing right, man. Chandra was just gifted and could get it done, man. I tell you what.
Listen, I have a tough time bending over to tie my shoes, so I totally understand that. But Chandra, a tremendous career, and now you're coaching at Tennessee State University, both the men's and women's teams. But let's get into, Al always likes to start the show with this. When you were growing up, and Al's known you since high school days. What other sports? You're obviously a track and field, a tremendous track and field, one of the best the U.S. has ever produced. But did you play other sports, and what really made you gravitate towards the sprinting events? Was that always your best growing up as a child? Getting into your teenage years.
So I would say my best sport is basketball.
Whoa.
Yeah, I was a phenomenal basketball player. I would say I made All-American basketball. And this, the only thing I ever would brag about is basketball. I was, my stats was unbelievable as a high schooler. I was 26 points a game, 13 rebounds. Hey, what can I say? Yeah. But I at the time, women basketball wasn't something that had taken off yet. And so track and field had opened the door for me, and it afforded me a college career and on to the Olympic Games. So track and field is where I really took off at.
Les, you can't sleep on Chandra with this basketball thing, man. She was phenomenal in basketball. And I'm telling you, she was knocking down 30, 40 points on several occasions in high school. And you talk about running track. I mean, she was a long jumper as well. She didn't mention that, but even in middle school, she anchored the boys 440 relay that won the city for sure. I know. And Chandra, you got to tell us about that. I mean, it's rare when you find a young lady running with the guys, and she anchored that 4x100.
Wow.
So what happened on that? Title IX had just came into place, and one of the young men pulled a hamstring muscle. And so they decided to allow me to anchor the guys 4x4, and that was in middle school. And so they felt like if they got me the baton, I could hold on. And I did that, and we won the county championship with me anchoring the boys 4x1 relay. Yeah.
That's impressive, Al. Back in high school, I never saw any woman on any men's or any boys track team or anything like that. So that is incredibly impressive.
That's middle school, Les. That's middle school.
That's middle school.
Yes.
God, I can't even remember middle school. Wow, that is impressive, Chandra. Now, so your Olympic career really begins in '76 in Montreal. You know, you make that team. Prior to that, you win a gold medal at the Pan Am Games in '75 to prepare you for that. Your first time, you know, doing the actual U.S. trials. I know we talked a little bit about this before the show, that a lot of times people don't realize it, but the trials can be even more stressful and difficult than the Olympic Games, because you can be the best in your event all year long. You can be nationally ranked, a national champ, but you have that one off day and it doesn't work. You don't make the U.S. Olympic team. So maybe talk to us a little bit about your first trial and then subsequently the one for the 1984 Games in L.A. and how you prepared for that, the nerves, the mental aspect of that as opposed to the physical aspect of that.
Well, as a high schooler, you know, I felt like I had nothing to lose. I was the new kid on the block in 1975, going to the Pan American Games. And I can remember winning the 200 meters out of lane 1. And what happened, my club coach, which was Ed Temple, who went on to be my college coach, he didn't want to get into the controversy because Pam Giles from New Orleans had won the 100. So they thought that she had won the 200. But it was a photo finish. As we came across the line, when we went up on the podium, I was on the first podium as the winner, and she was second place. And so when we got down off the podium, they changed the medals around and gave me first place and gave her second. So that was the beginning of my career as an international athlete. I can remember coming home to Jacksonville and my community celebrating me at my middle school as a middle schooler. Mm-hmm. And then the following year, I tried out for the Olympic trials and I made the team. I can remember, coming up to Tennessee State, which is Nashville, Tennessee, to participate in their summer track program, making the Olympic trials and making the team. And at 17 years old, I was the 6th fastest in the world in 1976.
I told you, Les, I told you that Chandra was the real deal. She's got the big S in the chest. The cape is flying, man. I'm telling you, she was the gospel truth.
I'm going to run out of superlatives here in this show because that to me, that's just incredible. I know there are amazing athletes out there, but to do that at the age of 17, to be one of the fastest women in the world, to me is just, it's incredible. I've known so many great athletes, but I can honestly say I do not know anybody, or I've been interviewed or been around anybody that has been able to do that. So, wow.
Listen, and I tell you this, man, she's always been humble. I don't even think she realized what she was doing. She was just going out there running, having a good time. And Chandra's always been humble in everything that she's ever done, man. I mean, she's always been an incredible person, incredible athlete, never braggadocious. I mean, she was quiet. You know, I was glad that she gave us this interview because she's always been so quiet.
Well, I'm glad she's on because I think this is going to be awesome. So I'm super happy to have you here. Question: When you first got to the Montreal Games, your first Olympics in '76, I remember '76 from Sugar Ray Leonard and the boxing team, the high profile Bruce Jenner, I think, won the decathlon that year and things like that. What was your experience like actually going in and the opening ceremonies? Did you get to meet any of your Olympic teammates, that maybe you didn't know, or did that spark any friendships, things like that, outside of track and field or anything like, did you get to meet Sugar Ray Leonard, who was a big star? What was your experience like your first Olympic Games?
So my first Olympic Games, I can remember it was three of us. It was Brenda Moorhead, Kathy McMillan, and myself. We all came from Tennessee State, and we were so excited in Montreal. And we would be hanging out every night, going to the little events that they would have in the Olympic Village. And I can remember the manager. She called Coach Simple and told him that we need to get focused, and we're doing this, we're doing that. And you remember the telephone booth, right? We were on the telephone booth talking to Coach Simple, and he got us back refocused and, while we were there. And, we were young. We were young and we were excited. I can remember meeting Sugar Ray Leonard, the Russian athletes. We met a lot of people. It was fun. It was fun. We got to meet long-lasting friends, and Juan Torino, who won in '76 the 4 and the 8. That's a double that probably really be hard to do again. But those athletes, we remembered and we had a good time, but, we took care of business as well.
Phone booths. Phone booths.
Les, you got to know, though, you got to understand that Tennessee State is rich in tradition and history in track and field. I mean, so when she says Tennessee State, you may not know that, but you need to understand the foundation that she received at Tennessee State under Ed Temple, and school that's rich, not only in football, but rich in tradition in track and field.
Well, 3 women representing the U.S. in one team from one school is pretty impressive, even to this day. It really happens.
No, it goes way back from there. It started with Wilma Rudolph winning 3 gold medals, and then Wild Matthias, Edith McGuire.
Wow.
We had, with Tennessee State, we had 40 Olympians to represent the United States from Tennessee State University.
Wow. That's a pipeline to the Olympic Games, that's for sure.
Yes.
Any questions? Hey, Les, how about this, though? Chandra still holds the record for the Olympic trial record is it the 400?
It is. It is the 400, yes.
Wow. And to me, something like that where a record is, we're all young on this show. We're not, but the bottom line, when you ran this thing in the 70s, you still hold that record. To me, that's mind blowing.
Well, that was in 84.
It was 84. Okay. It was 84,
yeah.
But still 84, we're talking 40, 50 years ago.
40 years ago.
That's incredible to me. That record is still being held, where everyone talks about athletes being bigger, faster, stronger. Your record is still, stands the test of time. It really does.
And it does. And the crazy part about it, my story about my record, I was on the 1980 Olympic staff, 2008, Olympic staff. And Sonia Richard-Ross was trying to break the Olympic record at the time. And I'm looking at the scoreboard as the gun go off. I'm looking at her. I'm looking at the time. I'm looking at her. I'm looking at the time. And as she crossed the line, she didn't break my record. And I was like, yes. Oh, wait a minute. Go USA. So that's my story about holding the record. And it still stands today. And now I have 4 more years to see if someone break it again.
Well, we do have some questions, Al. We've got our viewers out there. We've got 3 or 4 questions for Chandra. So Joni is back in the chat seat. So let's have Joni throw a couple questions out to our special guest, Chandra Cheeseborough.
Okay, we've got some really good questions. John Irwin asks, Did you ever consider doing the heptathlon?
Not at all. No.
What is the pentathlon?
So that would be 5 events indoors.
Wow.
The hep is 7. So, you know what? I probably could have done it because I can remember training when I was at Florida State. My coach, Terry Long, he challenged me to run the 100 hurdles and the 400 hurdles. And he was like, I bet you couldn't do this. And I'm type of athlete. If you say, I bet you can't, I can. So I end up running for the first time, like 13.8 or something like that for the first time, no training. So I probably could have been a pentathlete, but no, I did never try it though.
Nice question, John. We know Johnny Greyhound. He's back in the viewer seat tonight. Let's go to question number 2 for Chandra Cheeseborough.
I just want to say, John's reaction. What a great and honest reaction to your record not breaking. He really liked that, Chandra.
Well, Chandra, just real quick. So, everyone always says, well, records are made to be broken. But, Eric Dickerson, the football player for the Rams who came on our show said, well, whoever said that never held any records. That's what Eric said. Honesty, you got to be honest, right?
Yeah.
You know what? But records are meant to be broken. And I know that it's probably going to go down one day. But right now, I got 40 years under my belt.
That's pretty awesome. So good question, John. Let's go to question number 2.
Okay, question number 2 from John again. Please talk a little about the 1980 boycott and then coming back in 1984.
Okay.
So for me in 1980, we went to the trials. Our coach took us to the trials. Some people opt out on going to the trials because they felt like, they wasn't going anywhere. But my coach, we went anywhere, and I know I had placed in the top, the 100 and the 200. I would have made it in the 1 and 2, but it was disappointing for the ones that didn't have another opportunity. But for me, I was still in college, and I still had that opportunity to continue to train and compete in 1984. And then in 1984, I made the team, and I also was the captain for the track and field team for the United States.
That's a huge honor. That's a really, and that shows to the type of person that you are. Captaincy. Al knows. Al's the captain. Al captained that team. You got to be a special person to be a captain. So that does not surprise me based on our interaction right now. John, that's a great question, and I had asked that question to Chandra before the show too. So she did have that other opportunity where maybe some other athletes later in their career did not have the chance to go for a medal 4 years later. Let's go to question number 3.
Okay, question number 3 from John again.
John is loading us up.
He is. So being so young in 1976, who did you hang out with?
Well, since there was 3 of us from Tennessee State, Brenda Moorhead, Kathy McMillan, who won the silver medal in the long jump. She went 22:11 as she was coming out of high school as well, and myself. And then, Coach Temple was there. Wilma Rudolph was there. So we knew a lot of people over there in Montreal. But, being on the team, and we were young and having fun and experiencing Montreal. And my favorite thing is to shop. So I shop till I drop.
Joni, you know about that. No, I'm only kidding. Joni's not like that. I'm more like that.
Yes, you are.
She's got to put the reins on me sometimes. And as is Tony's pointing, yeah, me too. I shop too. Okay, let's go to another question. Is it John again?
No, it's Rob.
Rob. Okay, let's
has
go
a good
for
question.
Rob out there.
How would you compare the young athletes of today versus when you were a young athlete training for the Olympics?
Good question, Rob.
You know what? I would student athletes, I'm going to go from that perspective because I am a college coach. They're different. It's a different ball. It's a bit different ballpark. I think I'm going to use myself as an example. I believe I came along a little too early because student athletes are getting paid this day and time. So, but someone had to pave the way, and it's just a different era that we're in now and where we're moving. And we have so many things, the the transfer portal, and it's a lot going on. So student athletes are different. I can remember as you can't say the things that you said that your college coach said to you. You can't say that to a current student athlete. They're very sensitive. They're very sensitive.
We hear that all the time, don't we, Les?
Yeah,
we do. Chandra, we just had a couple weeks ago, we had Darryl Walker, had a great career in the NBA, and he's the basketball coach at Arkansas Little Rock, and he really was pretty blunt with us when it comes to the transfer portal and the NIL, and he's like, and I agree with him 100%. Let's be honest, it's really not NIL. They're just paying people to come and play. I mean, it's not name, image, and likeness. To that point, how does that NIL or transfer portal work with the track and field athletes? I know with football and basketball, that's really the mainstream ones. Those are the ones who are making all the headlines. But does that filter down to track and field as well? And if you had to deal with any of that?
You know what? I don't think it filters down as much. You may get a fifth-year student athlete that may want to go and work on their master's, but there are so many student athletes still in the portal. And that's the sad part. You can run a 49 or 48 and you're still sitting in the portal. But, in your mindset, you think you're ready to go to the Power 5. They're not recruiting 48 runners. Mm-hmm. With my area, a mid-major college, for me, Tennessee State is more a developmental type program. We develop our student athletes to be at the nationals. Power 5, they already national proven when they recruited. You know what I'm saying? So a kid, when they run 48, they feeling themselves. And they still feeling themselves because they still in the portal. And then they want to come back and try to get back on your team. And for me, once you get in the portal, I done moved on.
And that's exactly what Coach Walker said too, is, when you get in the portal, you kind of moved on. I want to get to that point real quick. And then I want to see if you can maybe hang out a little bit, because I want to talk about your experiences in '84, winning the gold medals, and then you handicapping the Olympics, which start in a couple of weeks. And how do you think Team USA is going to do? Because I know you're familiar with a lot of these athletes and runners. But say, you do not get the high profile recruit and you get someone raw that comes in and you coach them up. And they turn out to be a tremendous runner. They work real hard. You put all the work in to really, get them to a certain point where they excel and they better themselves. And then all of a sudden, like as you said, a Power 4 program comes by and says, we're snatching you up. We're going for the LSU. I know is a big time track and field program. You're going to come to LSU. We got the NIL money. How do you feel as a coach where you took a chance on, bringing someone in, developing them? Is it just, well, that's the lay of the land now? Or does it really, does it hurt a little bit when you really work with that person?
It's a slap in the face, because no one was recruiting you when you wasn't doing anything. And then, we develop you to be that number one athlete. And then now you leave. But you know what? One thing they don't understand, you're not going to be their number one athlete. I don't care, because you wasn't recruited by them. So first of all, it's going to take a year or two to learn their program. You can run track, but there's still a process in everything you do. And like we always produce a lot of jumpers, but my jump coach has a method to his jumping. So when you go to another sprint coach or another jump coach, there's going to take a little time to make that adjustment to get to where they want you to be. And it may not happen. And so you only have 1 year, So it's up to the student athlete. Mm-hmm. My thing is, the grass is not always greener. Mm-hmm. And whatever got you there will keep you there.
Very true. That's
yeah. Chandra, let me ask you this. The Olympic team is already formed. We're a few days away from opening ceremonies. What's the mindset, the mental toughness, and the diet of these athletes right now? I mean, you've been there several times, obviously, and what are they doing right now to get themselves ready to give their best performance in Paris?
You know, the dynamic of the Olympic ceremony has changed. A lot of the not students, a lot of the athletes don't even do the open ceremony anymore because they feel like, oh, I'm going to be standing on my legs, all these. But track and field is the last week of the Olympic Games. So why not experience the Olympic open ceremony? That's a tremendous time that you get to, those memories. But, it's about dollars now. So we don't have time to stand on our legs anymore, and because I got to get paid. And that's what it's about. So the experience of the Olympics, it's kind of moving away because I want to be paid.
Well, and I agree with that. I know some people have said that as well. It's a completely different experience to when you competed, and even in the early 2000s now, I think the advent of money, television, social media has completely changed, the way the Olympic experience is. But well, listen, if you can hang out a little bit longer, I want to talk about your experiences in 1984. You killed it. We saw one of the clips there with the gold medal, and you got 2 gold medals and a silver, and also handicapped the USA's chances for an Olympic gold medal in this year's Olympics. So we'll be right back with more Chandra Cheeseborough after this.
Jim's Pawn and Gun Shop, located at 4212 Oleander Drive, Wilmington's #1 firearms dealer. Sporting a large inventory, including all brands of handguns and long guns, a full stock of accessories, and all types of ammunition, Jim's Pawn and Gun Shop has it all, including the best customer service in the area.
Before the lights go out, call Wilmington Generators. We offer the lowest price and a 10-year warranty for all Briggs & Stratton installations. A Briggs & Stratton powers more of your home for less money. Call for a free quote. Wilmington Generators. We play with power.
Welcome back to Swartz Talkin Sports. I'm your host, Les Swartz. This is truly a groundbreaking show for 2 reasons. It's the first time we've ever interviewed a gold medalist in the Olympic Games, and it's the first time we've had a female on the show. And if we're going to do this, we're doing it right. We got the best to ever do it, in my opinion, one of the best to ever do it. I know you will. And I got to tell you, Chandra, you've been amazing. So it's been a pleasure interviewing you, and thanks for hanging on and giving us a couple more minutes. Before we get into the 84 games and then handicapping this year's Olympics, we have a couple more questions from viewers. You're killing it. We got a great live audience tonight. So let's have Joni, our amazing chat girl, throw a couple more questions at 1984 2-time gold medalist Chandra Cheeseborough.
Okay. John Irwin asks, how does your funding compare to larger schools like Kansas and Oregon?
What funding? No, sorry. I'm just kidding. You know what? At Tennessee State, we are HBCU, so we don't match up to the Power Fives. And so I have to play around with scholarships. I did get an increase this year, so I'm not going to dog my school out. They did increase on men and women's side. So, we heading into a good direction. The good thing about it, I just got a brand new facility, a brand new track. So I'm excited about that. And I am hosting the OVC. So, with that being said, when you get a new facility, there's new equipment going to come along. So things are happening for our program, and I'm excited about it.
Great question, John. And let me guess. Does John have another question?
No, actually, it's from Benny the Book.
Benny the Book. Okay, so we have to explain to Chandra who Benny the Book is. So Benny's our other co-host, Chandra, and he's the expert when it comes to wagering and when it comes to betting in football. He's the man. He's unfortunately not with us tonight. I kind of messed up the way everything was coming on. But Benny the Book's got a question for Chandra.
He says, "Hey, Chandra, this is Benny the Book. I am interested in how you got into coaching after being a world-class runner."
Good question, wow. Ben.
It is a good question.
So After running, my coach, Ed Temple, who retired in 1994, he called me and he asked me to apply for the job because he was getting ready to retire after 44 years. And when Coach Temple called me, I said, no, I'm not going back to Nashville, Tennessee. I was coaching high school track in Jacksonville, Florida at Lee High School at the time. And so I didn't apply for the job. That was in January. And so Wilma Rudolph and Coach Temple called me. And Wilma said that Coach Temple felt like that I would do a great job at Tennessee State, and they wanted me to apply for the job. And I did apply for the job. There were 44 applicants, from 44 to 11, from 11 to 4, and 30 years of August, I would be the coach at Tennessee State. 30 years.
Outstanding.
Great classic story. That's great. Yeah. That's a great question. Great answer. That classic story. Yeah.
Yes.
Now, in 1984, you're in your would have been your third Olympic Games, because you would have competed in 1980 if we hadn't boycotted. So you're more a veteran at this point. You know, you're not the 17-year-old young phenom. You're the experienced one, and you come up and you get 2 gold medals. I mean, your experience. I mean, that's got to be incredible. We just saw the relay and things like that. You anchored that. A gold medal. You did it twice and silvered. I mean, what's that like when you're running and you hit that finish line and you know you're going to have the gold medal? They're going to play the Star Spangled Banner. What's it like up on that podium for 99.9% of us that are never going to experience that?
So first of all, with the silver medal, I was pissed.
Because, you're a competitor.
Yeah. I felt like I should have won that race, but that was my probably 4th time running the 400, because I started running the 400. I went out to California. I was running the 1 and 2. That's what I was training for. Mm-hmm. And I decided to run the 400 and end up breaking the American record at the 11 years. So me and my coach talked about it, and the Russians had already pulled out. And, you know, we said that maybe you should run the 4. And that's when I started running the 400. But I was not training for the 400. I was a 1 and 200 meter runner. So I end up going with the 4 and the 2. And in Los Angeles, I end up coming up with bronchitis, and I pulled out of the 2. But before I pulled out of the 200, I went to the head coach, who just recently passed last week, Brooks Johnson. He used to be the head coach at University of Florida. He passed last week. And I asked him, would I have an opportunity to run the 4x1 and the 4x4 if I pulled out of the 200? And he said, yes, that I can try out. And that's how I came about of running the 4x1 and the 4x4. And history after that. So, you know, in my career, I can look back and I've always been one of 2 persons to do it first.
I was going to say that you're the first woman to win 2 gold medals in both relays in an Olympic Games, which is an incredible accomplishment, Al. I mean, that says it all.
Chandra, along those same lines, though, what event did you really enjoy running? What was the best event of all events? I mean, to include long jumping, you know, obviously you didn't do any long jumping in the Olympics, but I mean, we know your basketball accolades. But I mean, what your favorite event
would be the 200 meters. It's something about running the curves. And, you know, it's crazy because I drive like I run the curves. I still lean into, and it's weird. I lean into the curve as I'm driving when I run the 200. So, yeah, it was the 200 meters.
Outstanding. I know there have been so many people who have impacted your life. And what I want to do is just say some names, and then you tell me what comes to mind. When I say Gwen Maxwell, what do you think about?
My mentor, my confidant. I mean, Gwen Maxwell was all in all to me. Man, when I think about Miss Maxwell, I can remember going off to college. Every 2 weeks, I would get a care package, whether it be a care package or a check, a money order. that was big time, leaving home.
Absolutely.
And, having going to the post office, period, and you picking up a packet with whatever was in there. So Miss Maxwell was that to me. I mean, I love her dearly, and oh my God, man.
What about Wilma Rudolph?
Everything when I became the head coach, every uniform that I purchased, she had.
I got you.
Yeah.
Wilma Rudolph.
Wilma Rudolph was my mentor. I can remember meeting Wilma in 1976 at the Montreal Olympics, and until her death, I was able to minister to her on her sick bed and read healing scriptures when she was sick, and went on to be with the Lord.
Ed Temple.
Oh, wow. Ed Temple was a man of honor. Never heard a bad word about Ed Temple. He didn't play the radio, but he was a man, a great man, a great, great man.
Evelyn Ashford.
Well, that's some different stories now. Evelyn was a little weird to me. At first, Evelyn didn't know how to receive the baton. And, we came from a program that we learned how to take the baton from the right or the left. So that was the things that Coach Temple taught us. And when we ran into a young lady that didn't know how to do it, we were like, what the heck? What? But, she ended up being a great athlete, and, she did her thing. Yeah.
Florence Griffin Joyner, that's the last one.
Well, with Florence, the story that I remember, we were running the 4x1 in 1984. We were doing a tour, and I knocked Florence nails off, and she picked them back up and glued them back on.
We know she was a fashion trackster.
Well, let me just say this. No. It didn't start with Florence Griffin Joyner. It started with the Tiger Bells. And I'm going to tell you, the red lipstick came from Chandra Cheeseborough.
Okay. All right.
She was a trendsetter. Come on, Al.
There it is.
Chandra was a trendsetter. Chandra, in the 4x1 and the 4x4 that you won gold medals in, were there all the same women on each one of those, or were there different women involved than yourself? How was that?
There were different women.
Oh, okay.
So for the 4x1, it was let's see. Alice Brown was the leadoff leg. Jeanette Bolton to me, and then to Evelyn. In the 4x4, it was you get to change relay legs, but Valerie Briscoe Hooks, Janine Howard, myself, and one other young lady. It was two Howard girls.
Gotcha.
I don't remember them as well, but yeah. So let me tell you a fun fact. You don't know this. Tennessee State was the first HBCU to do a world record with Nike. And so we were the first HBCU to be outfitted by Nike, and we hold the first world record for Nike.
Oh, outstanding. I did not know that. And the fun fact, Al, we did not know that.
Well, I tell you what, her greatness has preceded her, obviously, and for the last 30 years, there's been a Chandra Cheeseborough invitation hosted right there at our high school. And Chandra, just tell us about that. But I know you, but I mean, tell the folks who are listening about the Chandra Cheeseborough invitation.
So the Chandra Cheeseborough invitation is always hosted on the first Saturday in April, and it is a high school meet that in my honor, Gwen Maxwell and Coach Ham and Harold Porter was the people that made that happen. And so we just like to, they honor me. And with that being said, along with that, I have a Chandra Cheeseborough 501c3 program where we give out scholarships. So the last 2 years, we have been giving out scholarships to high school students that are going on to college, a book scholarship.
Outstanding.
And we actually have a picture. Tony, a crack producer, was able to get up all that information, but we do have a great picture of, I think, Chandra, you being inducted in the High School Hall of Fame there. There's beautiful Chandra with the man to the left, Al the Rattler Chester. Look at you, Al, looking so dapper with the tie. Come on, man. Look at you.
I'm an old man trying to get by, man. This shit was all about Chandra.
No, that's a great picture. Thanks for sharing that
Al,
with us.
did you tell him that we used to work together? And what was the name of that program?
Summer Fun. We used to come home.
Elaborate here. You need to elaborate on this.
Well, it was a summer job. We would come home in the summer from college and we would work together. And it was called Operation Summer Fun. Some of the ex-athletes would come home, get work for the city, and we'd take the youth around the different functions every day, and just to give the kids something to do. And Chandra and I were teammates, and we had a great summer that year.
Yes, we did. We did.
So you guys really do go back. You guys have known each other a long, long time.
She actually finished with my brother in 1977.
Okay.
Am I correct? Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. But I tell you what, she's been just as humble and a talented person. My question to you, Chandra, is at what point in your life did you realize, in your young life, that you had a gift? Because you obviously had the gift to run like no one has ever seen before. And when did you realize that?
I think I realized it after I went off to college. Being in high school and running, and like I said, I was a new kid on the block. It didn't mean a lot to me, but when I went to college and other athletes were just as fast as I was, I realized that I had a gift. And then as I look back, man, the things that I have accomplished, I'm like, oh wow, yeah. I was blessed. Yeah.
Well, before we tackle the upcoming Olympics in Paris, we do have two more questions from our viewers. Like I said, Chandra, you're killing it tonight. We've got a lot of live viewers, and we got a lot of questions. So let's go to Joni for a couple more questions for Chandra.
Okay, John Irwin asks, how many assistants do you have, and what do they coach? Are they throwers, distance? What?
So, John, I don't have enough. That's the first one.
John, are you looking for another job?
Yeah. I'm looking for a throwers coach eventually, but and what they have done now with the NCAA, I think they're doing away with GAs. So I was using a GA to be my throwers coach. So now I think next year we're going to have to look for a throwers coach. But I have a jump coach, a sprint coach, and then a middle distance coach and a GA. So it's 4 of us on staff.
All right, good question, John. Well, I know John's up in Massachusetts. Maybe he wants to move to Nashville and help you out a little bit. I'm not sure.
Man, if he comes to Nashville, he may stay because Nashville is booming right now.
I know. It's a great place. I love it there. One of our close friends lives out there. So, all right, let's go to one more question for Chandra.
All right. One more question from our viewer, Jody M. Who are your idols?
Good question, Jody.
Yeah. I think I would say Wilma Rudolph. My sister was a high jumper in Jacksonville, Florida. She was before the women's state, the first state track meet. My sister jumped 5'7", the Western roll, and I don't know if you guys remember that. That was before the flop was invented.
That was like a forward type of jump?
Yes, okay. And you would roll forward.
Yes.
So my sister jumped 5'7" as a high schooler.
Wow.
Yeah.
Al, I need a ladder to go do 5'7" at this point.
I got the warm up to put my clothes on.
Oh, come on. Well, listen, we've got in a couple of weeks we start the Paris Olympics, and I know, Chandra, you know a lot of the competitors that are running in the track and field, and who the top competition is going to be for the USA. When we were growing up, Al and I, and you were competing, the USA seemed to be on top of the world when it came to track and field. We had the best sprinters, the best jumpers. It seems like it's really spread out now. I know in the last 20 years, Jamaica has made a massive jump in track and field, and other countries as well. And we're not as, I guess, on top of the world when it comes to track and field now. It's more of a world's, it's pretty, the level field has been evened. Let's just put it that way. Who are we looking at this year? Does the USA have a realistic chance to win some gold medals? And who would be those athletes to bring home the gold?
Well, I believe that we do have a great opportunity in the 100 meters, men and women. Noah Lyles and Sha'Carri Richards, they have a great opportunity to bring home a gold. The young lady in the 100-meter hurdles for the U.S., she has an opportunity to bring home a gold. And we know that Sydney is just tearing up the track. So and the relays, I believe that we're gonna go 1-2 in the 4x1 and the 4x4. So we have a great opportunity. I think that the USA gonna bring home the most golds.
That would be outstanding. I'd love to see the USA just kill it in this Olympics. What countries should we be looking at as maybe the main competitors in the sport, in the events that you were? We won gold medals, the 4x1 and the 4x4. Who is the USA going to have to look for? Who do you think are going to be the main competition there?
I don't think Jamaica is going to be as competitive as they've been in the past because they're number one Olympic 100-meter young lady. She's hurt. She won't be competing this year. But I know Shelly Ann will be back. And then they do have some new people. But I think that we should win it hands down. And I forgot to mention Gabby. Gabby is running good. So I don't know who's our competitor. I don't even look at that because when you're number one, why look back?
Always look ahead. Always look ahead. Never look back.
Yes.
Al,
well, that's what she said earlier is key, though, is the day that you run, you got to bring your A game. You got to be on point that day. So if our girls are on fire that day and bring that heat, nobody can beat us.
Exactly.
And like you said, track and field is the last 2 weeks of the Olympics or
last week of
the Olympics. So Olympics only like 2.5 weeks.
Yes.
So. Well, we'll be looking forward to watching Team USA this year. I know it's going to be. I'm gonna spend a little bit more time watching it now that we've had you on and look at those events that you ran and won gold medals in. And I'll be really looking forward to watching those girls and hopefully they can take home the gold as well as the men's. But Al, I want to thank you for hooking us up with Chandra. This has been a treat. It's like I said, Chandra, you're the first female guest on Swartz Talkin Sports. We hope to get many, many more females, but we couldn't have done it with a better person. Just an amazing woman. Continued success at Tennessee State. I hope you guys have a tremendous season this year. Just seriously, you're incredible. So it's first time a female, a gold medalist. You've broken through here on Swartz Talkin Sports, and we really, really thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you. I know on Friday, First Coast News is meeting me in Savannah, Georgia, and to do a little piece. So I don't know when it's going to run, but yeah.
Well, you have to let us know. We'd love to pull a little bit up on our show, and when if they tape it or they run it, you'll have to let us know when, and we'll promote that. So please let us know.
That'd be great.
Chandra, you've earned and deserve all the recognition that you're getting and more. I'm just glad that we're friends and have been friends for a long time, and wish you continued success at Tennessee State. Go Tiger Bells.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Chandra, have a fantastic week and enjoy the Olympic Games.
Thank you so much.
Okay, This is Swartz Talkin Sports, Les Swartz with Chandra Cheeseborough. We'll be right back with more Les and Al after this.
Locals Tavern, Leland, North Carolina's favorite neighborhood bar, just south of the bridge where everyone truly does know your name, offers a variety of cold brews, wine, and specialty cocktails, and offers something for everyone on their food menu. With daily lunch specials and live evening entertainment, Locals is a hot spot you won't want to miss, where you can unwind in a casual atmosphere with friends, both old and new.
Hi, this is Les Swartz with Al Chester. Welcome back to Swartz Talkin Sports. Al, we did a little flip this week. You're wearing the ball cap backwards like I had it last week. You're rocking it this week. But thanks so much for getting Chandra on. Beautiful woman, amazing athlete, amazing Olympic career, and a great coach at Tennessee State and a great role model. So just a groundbreaking interview, and thanks so much for making that happen.
Well, I tell you what, she is a first-class act, man, and I tell you what, just it's a privilege to be in her presence and to be a friend of hers. Ball cap, it represents the All-Star break coming up. You know, you and I have talked about this. So you had it on last week. I'm wearing it this week, so we'll see what happens next week.
I think you rock it. You rock it a little bit better than I do. We get a couple things we want to talk about real quick. I know if the book was here, we'd be throwing it too. Is that you get the Major League All-Star Game coming up? I think it's next week, and we're going to have one of our future guests is going to be someone associated with the Cincinnati Reds in the marketing and promotion department, and they've got a young stud by the name of Ellie. What's Ellie's last name? The shortstop.
De La Cruz.
Ellie De La Cruz. I get him mixed up with O'Neill Cruz from Pittsburgh, who's another 6'7" shortstop as well. But De La Cruz is unbelievable for a guy that size. I think he's got 57 stolen bases this year, and he's definitely. I think the Reds' most popular player, maybe since they had Eric Davis back in the 90s. But so hopefully he'll come on in the next couple of weeks and we talk a little bit about promotion, things like that. We had the NBA draft. The NFL training camp start next month. I know that we've already gone through the rookie camps and things like that. So anything in the sports world that is lighting a fire under you? Or I know we'd already talked about Bronny last week and all that. I guess they shut him down. So anything, or do you think Team USA, let's talk Olympics. Does Team USA, is it a hands down they win the gold medal? I don't think so. I think they could be upset.
I tell you what, they got to bring their A game like Chandra talked about every time they play. But Major League Baseball is having the draft too, I think, coming up next week.
They are, and I know it's. I think they're saying right now the consensus number one is that kid Charlie Condon out of Georgia. I got to see him a little bit. I think he batted like .450 with 38 home runs this year, or I think he had 45 home runs. He set some kind of a record. It won the Golden Spike Award as the best player in college baseball. But I know I'm trying to think of who has the number one pick this year. I should have done my research more on that, but I did not. I think that Team USA is not going to win the gold medal. I know Kawhi Leonard bowed out today, so he's not going to be on the team. I forget who they're replacing him with. But I think that's
a money decision, no less, with Kawhi.
It is. I think
he's been hurt all year, the last couple of years.
Yeah.
And the organization told him, hey, you just sit home, chill, don't play in the Olympics, and be ready for a basketball season that's fast approaching.
Well, let's talk real quick, because we'll have a couple minutes, and then I want to go to the wrap after this. But real quick, so next week, yes, we got another Olympian on. Is the celebration towards the Olympics continue here on Swartz Talkin Sports? Ray Robinson, and I want you to just talk a little bit about him. We'll promo the show. I know he's working on a book, but for people who don't know who Ray Robinson is, it's not the boxer Sugar Ray Robinson. It's R.E.Y. Ray Robinson. Maybe let people out there know who he was. And what type of an athlete he was back in the 70s.
But I tell you what, in short, Ray Robinson is a FAMU graduate. He's an alumnus, Hall of Famer, but he ran in the 72 Olympics. He and Eddie Hart, and I think it was somebody else, they got jacked around, I guess, with getting a bad time on the Olympic trial runs. So they were disqualified. They went into the Olympics supposedly to win. They were expected to win, finish first, second, and maybe even third in 100. And because of a foul schedule that their coach got, I'm not quite sure who's to blame. Ray will tell us next week, though. They missed out on the Olympics. And, when we talk about all the hard work you put in to get to that moment, it's got to be, it's got to hurt you when that kind of thing happens. It's bad enough when you pull a muscle, you get hurt physically. But when you screw up on a time, and they got to the event, and the event had already happened. But Ray was one of the prettiest running guys that I've ever seen in my life. I mean, he was a slim, tall guy, about 6'1". He used to wear the long white socks, and he had a nice big afro, and that hair would blow back. And he had a little tape around his wrist, man. And he could run. Like Chandra was talking about, he leaned into that 200 and looked like a gazelle coming around that corner. But a great guy. He was a former coach at Florida A&M, and he's got a book out now. He's getting ready to publish one, and he's happy to be on our show next week. So I'm looking forward to his conversation on the heels of Chandra and as we prepare for the Olympics.
I was going to say, and I know he's working on a book, so I definitely want to talk to him a little bit about that. So listen, enjoy the rest of your time. I know you're in Tallahassee. Enjoy the week out there. Have a great weekend. We'll see you on next Wednesday at 8 p.m. with Ray Robinson.
My man, we'll do it.
All right. Well, listen, have a great week with the family. I know you're out there enjoying the grandkids, so enjoy it. This is Les Swartz Talkin Sports. That's Al Chester. I'll be back with the wrap after this.
Forever 24 Fit, Leland's only gym with 24-hour access. Forever 24 Fit, Leland's only gym with 24-hour access. Get fit when it's convenient, utilizing Life Fitness, cardio, and weight machines. And for those of you who prefer free weights, there is a free weight area as well. Start your membership today and get on your way to a better you. Six Happiness. Enjoy fresh Asian cuisine in a relaxed and friendly atmosphere where we believe good times deserve great food. Featuring the best sushi chefs in the Leland area. So come on in and we guarantee you will be delighted.
Welcome back to Swartz Talkin Sports. I'm your host, Les Swartz. We have to let Al know next time we go to commercials, we got to turn off his mic. I think he keeps forgetting that we're live running through commercials so we could hear everything Al's saying. Whew, that was a close one. Anyways, want to thank again our special guest tonight, Chandra Cheeseborough. Just a tremendous person, and we are so excited to have our first female guest on, and not only that, but a two-time Olympic participant and a two-time gold medal winner. So amazing interview with Chandra. Thank you, Al, for getting that happening. Next week, we have Ray Robinson, and again, thanks to everyone out there. We had a lot of live viewers tonight, some great questions out there, so we appreciate that every single week. We appreciate the support. So if this is your first time checking out Swartz Talkin Sports, hit that subscribe button. We are at 866. We need to get to 1,000. Let's get that. Let's make it happen. So for tonight's guest, Chandra Cheeseborough, my co-host, Al, the Rattler Chester, Benny the Book, who we know is out there, Joni the Chat Girl, my amazing producer, Tony the Tiger Smeraldi, and everyone here at Swartz Talkin Sports. We'll see you next Wednesday, 8 p.m. Have a great weekend, everyone.